But by doing all of that practicing, you get coaching. You clear some of those blocks. You get clarity on your dream. You start to create that inner freedom. You start to make changes in your environment, right? If you apply what you talk about with your coaches, even if it's only 10 minutes a week. And the interesting thing is when you look at the programs, what I really like about them, as an example, when you think about the order of the programs and what they can do for you, I think we all need to start with Play Life, because Play Life is really about, hey, what is your big dream? And how do you get more playful? How do you find a way to, first of all, let go of control and start focusing more on what you can influence? All right, it's a great program. Then if you look at Inner Freedom, it's really about, you have these hidden superpowers. I love that way Dave always approaches that. Basically saying, when you have your fears, you use your fears as a treasure map to your superpowers. And the stupid thing is, we all have those fears. And when I did Inner Freedom, I had a couple of interesting roadblocks to get out of my way. And some of them were from my youth, but some of them were actually from my business experiences, from my coaching experiences. And one thing I love to do as a coach, I love to do as a trainer, but also as a coach, is to share stories, share examples, and make them personal, right? I mean, really talk about the stuff that you've experienced. And I realized that as early as 2019, I really struggled with sharing those stories. I struggled in putting things, sharing my experiences on, as an example, LinkedIn, right? Because, hey, there's a certain audience there. And I was like, what's going on here? And in one of the Inner Freedom sessions with my dyad partner, with my coach, we started to get into the process and say, hey, but so when you want to post something, what are your experiences? So what's going on in your head? What are your thoughts? Where are your feelings? What do you sense in your body? Interesting. When you focus on that particular sensation right now for 30 seconds and you just let it be, right? What's the first thing that pops into your mind? And then you find your memory pop, and we go deeper into the body beliefs. And the crazy thing that happened is that at that point, I experienced a moment where, from a couple of years ago, not even my childhood, but from a couple of years ago, where I had been delivering a workshop in one of the countries I work in. I'm not going to name names here. That's not the important thing, I guess. But I was delivering a workshop, and I shared a personal story. I shared how the Dickens process from Anthony Robbins, at a certain point, how I experienced that and how that process with the future pacing changed my life. And I just shared it as an example, as in, hey, this is one of the tools that coaches can use. And then at the end of that workshop, the general manager of that company came to me and said, Jan, we have a situation. I said, so, okay, what happened? And then the GM said, 3 people in the room were extremely hurt because of your story. And that person then said to me, you've hurt 3 people in this workshop.
Wow.
And that, of course, stuck with me. And I was like, wow, my story hurt 3 people. What did I do? I just shared a story. But that one experience started to block me from actually sharing again. And by doing that Inner Freedom, just the whole idea, hey, but what are you trying to do? Well, I tried to get my dream out there. I have this big passion project. I want to talk about that stuff. But somehow I feel the block and I'm not doing it. Why not? And this memory popped up. And I was like, this is crazy. I mean, has this one experience really had such an impact on me that it started blocking me? So I got deeper and basically said, yeah, but it did. Because when I'm told I hurt people by sharing a story, I'm not on this earth. Why am I here? Right? That question. I'm not here to hurt people. I'm here to help people. But if in my intention to help people and sharing stories, I actually hurt them, I was like, how the heck do I do this? And the funny thing was, one of the key things, and of course, in the programs that we do at CoachVille, going back in this case to Inner Freedom, we share our experiences. So I shared that experience with the other coaches, with Coach Dave. And he made a remark. He said, Jan, you are trying to play the unwinnable game. And I said, Dave, what do you mean with unwinnable game? And he said, well, on the one hand side, you have this big dream that you want to do, which needs you to share those stories, which needs you to share your personal experiences. And at the other side, you've got this fear that you don't want to hurt people. And guess what? those two don't go well together. That's the unwinnable game. And that's when I realized that, and this is true for everybody who's coaching, there will be emotive moments. There may be tears. People may get very emotional and people may get hurt, even by just asking a question, even by just sharing an experience. And that's okay. That shouldn't stop you as a coach from asking those questions. That shouldn't stop you as a coach from sharing those experiences, as long as you do it with the intention to help. Because I don't know what your emotional background is. I don't know what your baggage is. And if me not knowing your baggage stops me from asking those questions, stops me from telling those stories, I, by default, stop myself from helping other people to realize their full potential. And that's what inner freedom does for you.
And that is,